I wanted to tie a bow tie. I figured this is a cool skill, right? So I learned by taking this bow tie and crossing it over like this, pushing this piece back. Following? Everyone? Adjusting all along the way, that's the tough part, right? And you have a bow tie. How do I look? Well, this crazy little thing that I wanted to learn was because I was thinking about all the things that happen online, all the ways that you can learn outside of your traditional classroom. So this bow tie came to me wrapped in a cardboard instruction manual. It didn't work for me, really didn't work for me. So after many tries, I did what many of you would do. I got online, and a couple clicks later, I found the video, How to Tie a Bow Tie. And that video took me on a journey I'd like to share with you a little bit. Each year, there is 100 million hours of how-to videos produced. Okay, pause and think about that for a minute. That's 4.1 million days of continuously played video. Just what we need, right? That's per year. Think about that for a second. Our world is changing in ways we probably never expected. And when we think about learning, and I want you to think about learning, we can almost find anything that we possibly wanted to learn. And we can find it in so many different places. So now I've got a question for you. What is that one thing that you really wanted to learn? That one thing that may change your life or your career or even change someone else's life. And I want you to put it in your head. This is the interactive part. Put it in your head, hold on to it, and think about it. We're going to come back to this later. A person who is autodidactic. That word is a person who has learned a subject without the benefit of a teacher or formal education, a self-taught individual. How many of you are that self-taught individual? Most of you in the room have taught yourself something at one point in time, but I want you to think about those people who have done amazing things of the things that they've taught themselves. Well, Leonardo da Vinci and Thomas Edison, the great inventors, taught themselves. Frida Kahlo and Frank Lloyd Wright, the architect, taught themselves. And even Frederick Douglass, who taught himself how to read and write to become the first African American to be nominated for vice president. Or Caroline Herschel, who built and designed her own telescope and was the first woman to receive the gold medal from the Royal Society. These individuals had a special formula, and that formula looks something like this. First, interest. You gotta have passion. You have to have some interest in what you want to do. Second is the content. It has to be rich and viable content, important and critical to the learning process. And then third is design. How is it structured in its design? What were the components? For me, that cardboard just didn't work, but the video did. The place where these three intersect, that spot, that special spot, is the secret place for learning. These three things come together. You can applaud, go ahead. I'll let you. Oh, it'll get better. So as I think about this, in my career has been over 25 years in this business of informal learning. I started at the Shedd Aquarium in Chicago and then became a zoo director at John Ball Zoo in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And now, as the head of the St. Louis Science Center, we ignite passion every day for kids that walk through our doors. And it's really important to understand that our exhibits and our opportunities that people experience, it's on their own. It's a free choice learning experience. They can wander wherever they go and figure out whatever they want. That's an important part. And we do it all to create wonder, imagination, and discovery. And we do it without grades or judgment. But probably the coolest part about my job is I have super cool employees. I mean, some of the coolest employees. They are really spectacular, and I'm going to show you one. This is one of my favorite employees. He is never late for work, I will tell you that. And this employee, though, can instill the fear in our youngest children. It's a rite of passage to pass by the dyno. But for others, they're not intimidated. They come in with eyes wide open, minds ready to learn, and thinking about the opportunities that may exist beyond the doors. We have these dino kids that drag their plastic dinosaurs and backpacks filled full of all the things dino. These dino kids come to our place to teach us as much as we teach them. It's a great opportunity for us to expand their knowledge and their love for learning. But they're not alone. 1.3 billion people a year visit places like science centers, museums, aquariums, zoos, and national parks. 1.3 billion people a year. Libraries and community centers are also, hundreds of millions of people visit them each year. And of course, all of you are here tonight. These experiences of learning outside of the classroom are both special and memorable. For many people, they think of learning taking place only in the classroom. And between the grades of 1st and 12th grade, we spend less than 20% of our waking hours in school. 20% of our waking hours in school, leaving 80% of our time to learn outside of school. I'm not bashing schools. I went to one. I was a teacher. I understand the importance of those experiences in facilitated classroom environments. I understand the importance of the world of teaching. And in colleges and universities, if you're advancing or building a career, colleges are often essential. But adults between the age 25 and 54 spend less than 1 hour per day on educational activities. 1 hour per day. I think we need to think about it a little bit different. I think we have to think of a world that's slightly different than the way it is now. And 19 years ago, there was one word that changed our lives. I see that you're familiar with it. This word changed our lives forever. Content became available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and through multiple devices. You can sit on your couch and find anything you want. These 3 college dropouts changed the way we communicate, the devices we work on, and the way we work. And they are very familiar names: Jack Dorsey, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates. But this woman, Masako Wakka, is not a familiar name to most of you. A retired banker at the young age of 81 years old from Japan found that there were no games for seniors out there on the internet. She became frustrated by this, so she reached out to developers and programmers and didn't find any success. So she taught herself how to program. She taught herself how to build an app, and it's available on the App Store right now. The internet is an amazing thing, and we think about it every day. These technology tools are incredible. You and I both know how it's changed our lives. But I also think there's some big risks, some big challenges. You know, the idea of biased and false information on the web is really clear, right? Just go try to Google the idea of, is the world flat? Believe it or not, there's a lot of information that tells you it is. Watch teenagers at a social outing. Are they talking to each other? They're texting each other. Verbal communication is out of our world if you're a teenager. We've become slightly lazy because this tool has become such a rich and valuable opportunity for us. Neuroscientists say that the distractions from our devices every day are actually affecting the way our brain functions negatively. And I'll ask you, how many have ever ordered a meal from your couch because you didn't want to go out and get it? Okay, I see every hand. So that opportunity, I want you to think about as both a positive and a negative. And I want you to think about a world that's a little bit different. We'll set the internet aside, and let's talk about experiential learning. Kelvin Doe, a 14-year-old boy from Sierra Leone, wanted to build his own radio station. But in Sierra Leone, in his neighborhood, there was very limited amount of power. So he had to invent and become his own engineer. And when he did this, he did it all on his own, a self-taught engineer. And he's amazed some of the brightest minds at MIT through his actions. Well, what did he do? Kelvin foraged for everything he could find to build, a lot of trial and error, hands-on activities that made him create different things. Matter of fact, he created a battery, a generator, and a transistor radio from things that he found. He's the youngest recipient of the visiting professionals at MIT. This young man built his dream, the radio station, and he performs today under the moniker DJ Focus. This young man has done amazing things, including creating batteries for his neighborhood so that they have electricity. Masako and Kelvin inspire me. They remind me that lifelong learning doesn't require age or resources, that it's a part of who we are. It's the university of me. What does that look like and feel like? As a lifelong learner myself, I continue to learn. I want to be in a place that I can continue my journey. And as a ski patroller, I help people who have been injured on the ski hill. Or experiences on the Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier, watching hundreds of people scurry around the deck at this little city out in the ocean. But I'm still not done. These are just the start. I want to captain a vessel around the world, especially on nights like tonight. I want to fly a plane. I want to become a chef. Each of these opportunities, I have to get on the boat or in a plane or off the couch and go buy my food. This world of learning is all so available. So I go back to the question I asked you earlier. And on the count of 3, I want you to yell it out. Ready? What is that one thing? Remember it? We're going to pull it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I heard a lot. I'm not sure what exactly I heard, but I heard a lot. There's lots of content there, and there's amazing opportunities for design. We can no longer sit back and watch. We have to grow and learn every day to keep up. And that is what makes learning so special. So now you have no excuses. I hope I've inspired you just a little bit to get off your couch and think a little bit differently and to build the university of you. Thank you very much.